morning. It's Wednesday, January 11th, and I'm not going to talk today about Joe Biden and the classified documents that were found in his office at the University of Pennsylvania. Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice is already on the case, so we'll let that sit for a while and we'll see what happens. And I'm not going to talk about the millions of Brazilians, how's that? Millions of Brazilians who appear to be convinced that the October presidential was rigged against Mr. Bolsonaro, despite the fact that audits and analysis proved that the election equipment was legitimate. Sounds familiar? And those beliefs by these millions of people were spurred by Mr. Bolsonaro's misleading statements about the shape of the election equipment. And so this rioting and protests in Brazil have been going on for over 2 months, and I'm not going to talk about that, because we went through enough of that shit in this country. But I am going to talk about the Amazon, and that's the Amazon River, and the Amazon Basin, and the Amazon forest. Not Amazon, the world's greatest shopping center. What we must understand is how important to the whole world the Amazon Basin is. Now, the Amazon, in size, is the same size as the United States. Think about that. Think about that forest. The same size as the United States. And a river, the Amazon River, that is over 4,000 miles long. The longest river in the world. Right now in the Amazon, there's accelerating deforestation. And that could have major global consequences. And there are Brazilian scientists that fear that the Amazon may become a grassy plain. And that would also have profound effects on the climate worldwide. Because as many of you know, the Amazon is actually the oxygen tank for the entire world. And so as the trees get cut down and it becomes a grassy plain, it loses the power of oxidizing the world. The Amazon is also called the lungs of the earth. That's because of the amount of carbon dioxide it absorbs, which according to most estimates is about 500 million tons per year. And the problem, scientifically speaking, is that these estimates have never really been accurately examined. But there is one woman who has attempted to do that examination, to measure the effects of the Amazon on the atmosphere and how it collects the carbon dioxide that is emitted by much of the auto and fuel use around the world. And this young lady's name is Luciana Vanigatti. She is an atmospheric chemist who grew up in a small town not far from the Amazon. And she has decided to make saving the Amazon her life's work. And she collects Amazonian air every month or so. She goes up in a plane. She taught herself how to fly a plane. She goes up in the air and she collects samples in 17 different bottles. This approach is much different than those that have been used for years by other scientists who don't physically go to the Amazon but measure trees and measure atmospheric effects on the Amazon. And none of those things can really be accurately determined because there are varying differences in the types of climates that can occur over the Amazon during any period of time. You have cloud cover, you don't have bright sunlight. You have a variety of things that are happening all at the same time in the Amazon. So Luciana has decided that the only correct way to figure out what the Amazon is actually doing with the carbon dioxide is gather the air from various parts of the Amazon. And that's what she does, flying her single-engine plane alone up in the sky, gathering bottles of air. So these bottles of air that she is collecting, she starts at like 14,500 feet and goes down to about 1,000 feet above the earth. And she makes sure that the collection always took place above the same point on the map. So she flies this plane in tight circle, banking very, very hard, and keeps herself vertical to the horizon. So it's a monumentally hard task that this young lady, now she's not so young anymore, she's been doing this a while. She's 63 years old. Now this may sound complicated, but if you have a healthy rainforest, the concentration of carbon should decline as you approach the canopy from above. And that's because the trees are sucking the carbon out of the air. But that's not what she found. Her sample showed the opposite. At lower altitudes, the ratio of carbon had increased. And that is part of the problem. That suggested that the emissions from slashing and burning of trees has changed the filtering system within the Amazon. And when Gati is flying over the Amazon, she sees the roads that were cut through the forest and the dirt roads that are being used by people who go into the forest and destroy trees and other property. And she sees the threat to humanity in her mind. And it's not only the humans that are a threat to humanity. There's Mother Nature. Mother Nature is a threat to us. Climate change, etc. We have a situation where the warm Pacific Ocean pulls the jet stream south, bringing drier conditions to Canada and the northern United States, as well as the Amazon region. So think about that. We have conditions that are causing the country to become drier. And with less water in the air, then that affects not only the Amazon forest, but other regions of the world. So we have to get a huge amount of attention paid to what's going on. We need more people like Luciana to work and save our planet. So this obscure scientist, who is well known in her field, she's not really an obscure person, has shown me the light that we can do something to save our planet if we pay attention and do the research necessary. I'll leave you with that. Bye.